First of all, just a few thank yous. Certainly to the companies that took part in the initial scheme, to DEC certainly, and through the city deal, which I think Stephen Cashbull might allude to if we get to Q&A later on. But how all that came together, including the consultants and the experts that put this proposal together. So thank you to all of them. The people here will be speaking in turn, just to sort of reinforce the messages. The one thing that I would say, just in general terms, if the Tees Valley currently emits about 12 million tonnes, potentially could go to 15. This scheme would future-proof any existing investments and also for future investments. Would in itself take out, I think, about 60%, or would achieve a 60% of the targeted reduction, the first phase. So this is nationally significant, certainly regionally mega significant. The one thing that I think is important in terms of this future-proofing is we talk about thousands of jobs and the GVA generated. Once this system is built, the idea that you capture and store carbon in 30 or 20 or 30 or 40 years' time is kind of interesting, but I think, moving on from that, and in the literature it talks about this, the idea, Bayer, for instance, in Germany, are already converting carbon dioxide to polyurethane. In Japan, there are also processes, particularly around things called enclosed photobioreactors, where you accelerate algae to convert carbon to methane. Similarly with anaerobic gas fermenters. There are lots of technologies emerging that exist now that will be commercially viable in the next 20 or 30 years. So the value proposition suddenly changes. And if you have a system that's collecting this on this scale, the value of conversion is enormous. In fact, I haven't even done the calculations. So, this isn't kind of a dream, about what this can, in terms of just cost avoidance. This is about real value creation at the same time, really making an impact to the carbon footprint of the UK. Jay mentioned just in terms of hydrogen economy as well, how these things fit together. Right now, as an example, in Germany, for 7 months of the year, due to their renewables program, they have surplus electrons. So for most of the time, then what has happened recently is companies like Audi and EDF and E.ON are producing very, very efficient membranes that convert the electrons to hydrogen, which is a very useful material. If you have very cheap hydrogen and very, very cheap CO2, then you have methane. So these are where these possibilities of combining, a carbon dioxide economy, a hydrogen economy, all start to come together, solve the environmental problems, but also create value. So I think this is a very, very exciting time for the Tees Valley, for all the people involved, and I think for the country generally. So I support this wholeheartedly, and I really hope that we move on and progress to putting hardware on the ground.